Hi, good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm on my second cup of coffee here, so this should go very well indeed. It's great to have you with us all this morning. Some of us are from Trustworthy. Hi, my name is Nat Robinson. I'm the co-founder and CEO. I'm joined today by Ellen Goodwin, one of our product leads. Hey, Ellen, how's it going? And we're very fortunate to have Judith Guertin here. She's the author of the Beyond the Estate Plan Quick Start Guide. And she's going to talk to us today about our topic. Before we get started, a little housekeeping. If you have a question during the session today, we'd love to hear from you. There is hopefully in the bottom right corner of your screen an icon with 9 little dots that will let you click that, and then inside of that select the Q&A feature, and then ask questions as we go. We'll probably save some of those for the end and get to them and answer them live there. All right, so today we're talking about Beyond the Estate Plan, organizing your digital estate. And Judy's going to talk about this, which is her topic. She's the expert here today. And then we're going to see a little bit of a demo, and then we'll stop for Q&A at the end. Judy, welcome. Great to have you with us.
Great, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity. Welcome, everybody. Today we're going to talk about my 4-step system that I wrote about in my book. What I want you to know is this 4-step system will work for just about anything. But today we want to talk about our digital estate and how things have evolved over time. When I started out in business 25 years ago, everything was paper-based. So we had lots and lots of paper. When my dad died in 2000, all of his estate documents and everything eventually came through the mail, and my mother organized them and she put them into a filing cabinet and had them all ready for us for when something happened. Well, it happened less than a year later, and we were fortunate that we had all those details and that eventually all of her stuff came in the mail too. That's no longer true today. Today we have so many apps, and we have so many email accounts, and we have digital portals, and we have all sorts of access to different things through different apps, maybe our banking or our financials or our accountant. And so we need to start thinking about what's going to happen to all of that if something happens to us. So we start there today, and there will still be a place for some of that paper. But today we want to bring that paper into our digital system as well. So as I've done this process over and over again with people, whether it's with paper or it's with digital information, people ask the same questions. What should I keep? How do I store this safely? How do I make sure that my family has what they need when they need it? And where do I begin? And these, along with a bunch of other questions or fears, I would say, keep people from starting. You know, they don't have that one thing. They don't know who they want to be guardian for their children, or who they want to be their power of attorney or their healthcare proxy. So they're just stuck. I'm telling you, that's not the right approach. Today, let's start with what you have. We can add to it as we go. The system will build on itself. And remember that progress will happen one step at a time. And that beats perfection every day. I know I'm a recovering perfectionist, so I can tell you that we need to face what we have, document that, and continue to add to it as we move along. So my system is 4 steps. I call it CALM, C-A-L-M, and the steps stand for collect, analyze, locate, and maintain. Now, like I said, you can use this for just about anything, but when we're thinking about our information, let's gather our information. If all you have are your vital documents and your papers, you can start there. If you have digital details that you know and you can document, let's take care of those. We'll collect everything in a place where we can add it to our system. Once we have all that paper collected, or the documents or the digital details, we want to analyze what's missing. What accounts haven't we listed? Do we have other banking? Do we have other financial accounts? What apps do we need to have access to? Have we made a list. Do we know what to do next? The next step is L, locate. Where are we going to store this information? Our paper information, where are we going to store that? And then where are we going to store our digital information? So today we're going to be talking about Trustworthy because these lovely people are very much in alignment with what I think about the system. And the last step is to maintain. There is no system that's a one and done. We need to make sure that we are updating it. I went into my system not that long ago, maybe a couple of weeks, and I was like, ooh, this needs to be updated. That needs to be updated. Because worse than not having a system is having a system with a bunch of wrong information. So let's make sure that we do that maintain step. So where do clients have information now? They have information in paper-based systems, like my mother's filing cabinet. The information only resides there, and it's pretty hard to share unless you're actually in the physical location. I have clients who store digitally on their local machine. That's great, but what happens if something happens to that machine? How can you share that information? Some people will even make a local digital backup with an external hard drive or a server. But what happens if the power goes down or there's a fire or a flood and you have to evacuate? So what we use mostly with our clients is a hybrid system that cares for the digital contents as well as that paper that we need to keep. And our 4 goals for the system: bring the information together, file it where you will be able to find it when it is required in seconds, and grant appropriate access so that the people who need access to it will have it when they need it. So where do we begin? Well, for me, I like to have people start with their contacts. And you're like, oh, well, I thought this was about paper and digital files. Why are we starting with contacts? Because contacts are the conduit that brings everything together. If you need things from your finances, your accountant needs to be involved, probably. If you need things for your medical care, your doctor's office may be the place that you're going to need to have access to. So rather than having people search your power of attorney or your executor, for example, searching thousands of contacts in your devices, let's have them find the right ones, the ones that will help them to make you whole, the ones that will help to give access when it's needed, the ones that will be able to direct your loved ones, your proxies, your advisors. So let's start with that. So what kinds of paper do we still need? When I think of this, I think about all of the government documents, birth certificates, marriage certificates, baptism records, bar and bat mitzvahs, military records, things that come from a government agency that it would cost time and money to replace. We don't want to leave people guessing. We want people to have access to those documents. And if we add these documents to our digital system as well, then we protect ourselves against loss of these items. Because who's going to remember what town was this child born in? Where did they get married? Without those details, how will we recover? We need to integrate those bits of information into our system. So I want you to think about, what kind of paper do you have that has a raised seal on it? Where is it? Where have you stored it? Where's the original? Where is the digital backup? What kind of digital accounts do you have? If you opened your phone and looked at all of those apps, how would someone know? Is this important? Is this something that you picked up and you don't use? Do they need to look at it? Do they need access to it? Does it contain important information? Does it have just that one bit of information and it's not good for anything else? Let's try to get rid of the apps that we don't use and keep track of the important logins and credentials for the accounts that we do have. Two-factor authentication, those security question answers, all of those things that not you would need. Because you may remember them, but will you remember them tomorrow? Will you remember them after you add 10 more accounts? Will you remember them in a year, in 2 years? I know a lot of people can't remember their passwords when they come back from vacation. So let's make it simple. Let's make it accessible. So we started with paper files. So all of those documents that we talked about, those legal papers, those birth certificates, marriage certificates, all of the, maybe your insurance policies, all those things that you need to have access maybe to the physical documents, you can keep them in an emergency grab and go file. That's what I use. It's a fire resistant, water resistant tote where you can put all of those papers. I have an index that I use that sets it all up so that I can search it. I can tell someone else where to find something in it. But that's only the first leg of our system. Those paper documents are going to be scanned. They're going to be saved to the digital system. And that's where Trustworthy comes in. I'm so proud to be one of the Trustworthy certified experts because I have found my people. They understand and they want us all to have our information and to have it kept safely. It works with the COM method. You can collect things in a number of different ways. It's secure, it's accessible. You can grant access to just the right people at just the right time. You don't need to worry that you don't have every bit of information you can add to it. And there's some exciting new updates coming soon that will even make it more powerful. It's a wonderful system. I trust it for my information. I work with my clients with it. I think that the two working together, the paper documents that you need to keep, the digital information that you need to keep, all brought together into what they call the family operating system. It really is. And I'm going to turn the floor over to Ellen so that she can lead us on a demonstration, and then we'll try to answer any of the questions that you might have.
Thanks, Judy. That was so great. You probably saw a lot of head nods from us as you were going through the COM method because it's obviously something we subscribe to, we believe in, and you can see that well reflected in the platform that we've built for family information. For folks who are new to Trustworthy and haven't discovered it yet, or just discovering it today, Trustworthy is our company. Our software is called the Family Operating System. We think of it as your family's secure system of record that is designed to organize what matters, protect it, and help you take action with confidence as life happens. We're going to show you a quick demo now. Ellen, I'm going to switch over to you so you can lead us through the demo whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Nat. Thank you, Judith. And I was laughing along with Judith when she said people forget their passwords. But you also talked about the security questions to unlock your account. And I usually have to ask myself, what mood was I in when I created this account and had to answer what my favorite band was? You know, there's a lot of that information that we think we'll remember that we don't. And keeping it in your system, the maintain, the M in COM is something that I think deeply resonates with us because it's really, really hard when it's in paper in one spot and you're crossing things out and updating it if you remember. So emphasis on quick. I heard that, Nat. I will give a quick demo for everybody today, and we will dive into questions. Judith has been doing this work for years. There is very little that you can throw at her that she won't be able to answer and guide you on. And we're really honored to be here with you all. So with no further ado, I'm going to go ahead and I am going to share my screen. And here we go. All right. All right, so where do we start? But always at the beginning. So I am signed into a demonstration only Trustworthy account, no personal information being revealed here. So let me give you a little tour of inside of Trustworthy. You'll notice over here on the left is my navigation where I can get back to this screen, the dashboard, your kind of operating center. I can get to my inbox. Inbox is going to be really important, and I'll show you why. It's where all the documents that you forward by email, use our Chrome extension, maybe take a picture of it on the mobile app and send it here. It lands in your inbox where you can use the inbox to then decide where you want to place it inside Trustworthy. We create a lot of instant reminders for you. This is part of the maintenance and as well as the analyze of COM, right? it's important that you know your license is expiring or your insurance policy is up for renewal. We're going to understand that from the document that you input and create instant reminders to help you stay ahead of these tasks. And then, of course, you see all these categories. This is where the information lands. It helps you to think about what should go in here. All those beautiful file folders that Judith showed you as the starting point. That's also what we replicate here and guide you through the process of what do I want to put in each of these and maintain here. Then we have our area that I told you is the dashboard. This is a brand new account, so there's nothing here except suggestions on where to start, and I'll show you that in a moment. And then up here, I will go to the top user menu shortly, and I'm going to talk a little bit about how we manage access. Judith told you, you can decide who gets access when and to what. It can be very, very granular. I have access to my parents who live more than 1,000 miles away. I have access to medical power of attorney document that I need. I can't go to their closet and go get it. I need it here on Trustworthy where I can use it in an emergency. I have access for my daughter. She needs access to health insurance card, her ID, things like that. So I can permission things granularly, and I'll show you how that works as well. So what happens when you put something into Trustworthy? The impetus for a lot of people is, I don't need yet another folder per se. I need help. I need to know what to do with this now, how to maintain it. And so we automate that organization. We need help. Once information comes in, Trustworthy can automatically understand what it is, what it relates to, and where it belongs within your household. So you aren't managing all of those fine details. We're going to help do it for you. And we're going to make sure it's secure and accessible. So I'm going to click here as though I wanted to do a driver's license. If I drop in a driver's license, we upload it, we secure it and encrypt it. We say, oh, look, David belongs to this household. Here's all the information on the driver's license. We're going to copy that into the account for you. I don't know about you, but I've never been the best typist in the world. And you don't want to mess up those numbers on the license, right? You don't have to type it. It makes it really, really fast. And then you see that we created a renewal. His license is renewing in California. We're going to give you a link right to the DMV so you can say, what documents do you want from me? Fine, I will get them ready and I will come and make that appointment. So we do all of that every time you're uploading a document, making sure it's connected, all of the information that's possible to make life a little bit easier for us to manage. So I'm going to now show you, I'm going to actually drop in a driver's license for some of my family members, sample and passport. I'm just going to drag and drop here. And the system over here in the inbox, as I mentioned, is going to start uploading those documents. What I said in the beginning is we're going to help automatically organize, and this is how we're doing it because we're saying, okay, we've got a document. This one is a driver's license, and it's for Laura Reynolds. This is a passport. I can see what information our, what we call autopilot, is going to extract instantly from it. And, oops, sorry, clicked away. I can see it's a passport for David Reynolds. I have all of the information automatically populated for me. I can say, great, that's a much better name for it. I accept. I'm going to now say, great, I want to add this passport into my account where it's going to be secured and connected to this person and his ID. So I'm going to close this now. And I'm going to go back over here. Sorry, playing around. I'm going to say, open up David Reynolds. And I'm going to pop that passport right here where it's going to live now with all of those details populated for me. Accept. Now you'll see that it created a birthday reminder over here on the right. It created a renew passport reminder for me as well. When the time gets closer, I'll get a link so I can start getting going on applying for that passport renewal. While I'm here, I'm going to drop in his driver's license as well, so I can add all of those details. Very easy to say, hey, what's my driver's license number and search, and I can get those bits of information whenever I need them. I can also share this. So we talked about sharing files, right? There's oftentimes my husband's doing taxes. He does it for our household and or something else. And he's like, hey, I need a copy of your driver's license. I don't want to have to send it to him by text message where it's not necessarily secure. I don't want to send it to his email where it's going to get lost and buried. I just want to give him access so he has it. Now, it might be that he doesn't need it, but our tax preparer needs it. And they don't need it forever. I don't need to give them ongoing access to my personal details. So I can say, I want to share this. and I can say, I only want to give them access for an hour while they're filling in this form for me, or I'm at the car rental place and they need a copy. You only need it for an hour. Great. I can give you very, very limited permission to use this resource and create a secure link to share it with you. So we have made it really easy to both add it, get that information, and share it on our own terms.
Ellen, I just want to call out and connect the details here for these reminders to what Judy was saying about how do you keep your system up to date. You never want to just, file it and forget it. There's a lot of related action items here to help keep this information current so that it's useful for you on a day-to-day basis, but also useful for anyone who essentially inherits it or is a collaborator or a legacy access member. So that they know where to go, and when they finally, when they get to the system, things are current, things are up to date, things are, as they should be, really. We found this was a really critical missing factor in sort of the DIY versions of Trustworthy, where people were building it themselves. It was really hard. Not only did they have to build it from scratch, they had to update it and keep everything up to date as well. So we really lean into that element of how do we keep you on top of things? How do we help you, remind you essentially that things need to happen? What are all those critical tasks? You can see this happens automatically when you ingest a document with a date, but you can also create your own reminders for other important things that aren't necessarily document related.
Absolutely. Great points. And you'll be seeing some new features around this from us soon. So for example, we get a lot of people who are like, I want to create a custom reminder linked to one document and say, hey, dear spouse, make sure that you do this tomorrow. Add a little message. Yeah, we can divide and conquer like that. And so you're going to be seeing some enhancements that over the 5 years that we've been doing this will really help you in that process, because it's not all on you. And let me just jump ahead actually to talk about that. Managing access. I have added here a couple folks for my person. I'm pretending to be David Reynolds today. He has had access to his wife, a loved one, with partial access, meaning that I've sent an invite. This one expired. I can renew it. I can say resend the invitation. Great. They didn't accept it. They didn't see it. They were on vacation. They just weren't paying attention. You can make sure they get that invite, and you can very granularly say, I want you to have access to only specific information. That's a partial access person. Maybe that's a loved one. Maybe it's a neighbor who helps you out around the house. Maybe it is an attorney. Maybe it's a tax preparer, and you want to give them access to your tax folder. Great, you can do that here. Legacy access is something that we are also very vigilant about, making sure people are activating. And this fits very beautifully with, you collected it all, you analyzed it, you put it in one spot. Does anyone know about it? Do they know what to do with it? And so with legacy access, this means these people will have access to the information here if or when you pass away or incapacitated. And we have a process to then unlock the account for those people to then, for example, an estate executor might be that person that is your legacy access person. They get a notification. They know that they are the legacy access collaborator on your Trustworthy account. They get an annual reminder of this information. It's also a chance for us to be like, is that email still working? Are they there? So giving granular permissions is something that we know is really, really important to restricting who has access to what information and when. And so you have all of that available here at your fingertips as well. Let me return now to another way. So I showed you, I can just drag and drop files in here. I can drop a whole folder of information in, and it will start automatically processing that. But more often than not, I don't know about you all, my husband loves to send me documents like our insurance policy for 2026 for the car. He emails me a copy so that I don't have to go into the account and get it myself. But the problem is now it's sitting in my Gmail, which isn't very practical. It doesn't have reminders. It doesn't connect to all of my information. I can't take a look inside Trustworthy and be like, do I have all my insurance policies? Am I missing something? Do I have enough coverage? I can't do any of that analysis if it's all helter-skelter. So here I have the option we have an extension that works in Chrome, and I can open that up. I can sign in, and I have a couple options. I can use that to drag and drop files in. I can go to an email and it will say, oh, look, we found this insurance policy in this email. Do you want to pop it inside Trustworthy? And I can say, yep, let me pop that in my inbox, or let me file it away directly into my insurance. I can just send it right over from my email. The other option is, let's say I have just gotten a construction permit. Way to go, me. I got through the 3-month gauntlet to get it. I live in Austin, Texas. It's really brutal. So I have that receipt. I have confirmation. I don't want to have to write it down. I don't want to print it. I don't want more piles of paper. I want to save it automatically. I can use the Chrome extension to do that as well. I can say I want to take a screenshot, and I can say, yep, just the visible part. And you can see there, it grabbed it, and I can say, great, let's pop that into my Trustworthy inbox. I'll deal with it later. Or better yet, I know Trustworthy is going to help me organize that later. So as you're working, whether it's inside an account that's password protected and you need key information, you have an on-screen receipt, you have documents sitting around in your email, we can easily support you getting that into Trustworthy, where it will be instantly accessible and organized and interconnected with all of your other information. I actually think we should take a pause here and answer some of the Q&A that's coming in, because I see it's really timely. Nat, do you want to pop into any of that?
Yeah, I actually want to try and do across 2 of these questions. So we have a question about password management. Maybe you could jump to that category, and a question about security. I think this is a really good example of what Judy was talking about, meaning you can have a balance across your systems. You don't have to put everything, not everything has to live in Trustworthy. And in fact, for those paper documents where you need hard copies, you need a place to keep those. And Trustworthy sort of becomes a treasure map, right? To where are the things, like this is a great collection point. Where are all the things? They're not necessarily Trustworthy. They might be in a storage locker. They might be in a safety deposit box for property. They might be somewhere else. And you can refer to them in Trustworthy so that you remember where they are, and also your loved ones who might be picking up the pieces, or your spouse who doesn't, really know your side of the house. We have this common thing that we see across households today, where this bifurcation of responsibility. Hey, you're going to manage finances, I'll manage education and healthcare. They're kind of black boxes. So Trustworthy allows for this household equity, is this term we like, to bring that whole picture together, and you know where to go to find the information, even if you don't know exactly what's going on the other side of the house. You know where to go discover it. And so in terms of password manager, we are not a fully fledged password manager. If you have no password manager, Trustworthy is a good, better than Post-it notes or a notebook, right? Basic password manager, and is great for the garage door code, the home Wi-Fi, those kinds of things that you want to keep track of. But also, if you have a password manager, the password to the password manager, right? That you're using that password manager, whatever it is, to fill forms and fill passwords and create passwords, great. That's a good solution. We recommend some of those. But if you're not around to unlock the password manager, how would someone else do that? So you could put the password to the password manager here in Trustworthy. We have a very specific place for that, as you can see on the screen. So we don't have any specific integrations, Chris, to answer your questions with password management, but this is sort of how we allow you to work alongside any password manager that you might be using. Yvonne had a related question to security, about sort of all the security things, but I wanted to address sort of this element of, Yvonne, not everything has to be in Trustworthy. Certainly you can refer to it. But let's jump into the security question, because I'm sure lots of folks have it. If you are interested in a lot of technical detail around our security practices, then you can go to trustworthy.com/security, and we share as much detail as we can there. Here, I'll bring up the page. I can share it here. As we're able to publicly share around, what security practices we have implemented. And I'll run through those pretty quickly. Essentially, right at the top, our business model is aligned with keeping your information private and protected. We never will sell it. That's not part of our business. We'll never share it. Only you can do that, right? That's a fundamental part of who we are as a brand, who we are as Trustworthy, and our promise to you, and our promise to ourselves, because we all use Trustworthy as well. Essentially, it's protected at all times. It's private to you. It's yours. You're the sole arbiter of your information. You alone can decide how it's used. In terms of the sort of security elements, it starts with you have to have a robust password. You can't use something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, which is believe it or not, is a very common password.
Yes.
I think it's in the top 10 of variations of that. You have to have two-factor authentication turned on. It's not an optional extra. You must have it before you put. And there's a reason, because it's such a great additional element or layer of security to have that. Prevents, prevents all kinds of security flaws. Of course, we provide biometric authentication where that's available on your devices. We let you use a YubiKey or a physical security key if you want that element, meaning you have to be physically present to log in. We support that in our identity stack. Of course, we encrypt everything in transit and at rest using the best possible encryption. We add another layer. This is unique to Trustworthy. We add another layer of security as an onion. There's lots of layers. Another layer called tokenization, which essentially means we take all the really secure bits of information like your social security number, and we replace them with a hash token. That means that even if we were to suffer a breach, they wouldn't be able to retrieve the actual information. So that's another layer, and it's difficult to implement, but essentially the level that we want it to have for our own information. We redact everything on screen. There's more detail here. Of course, it's not just us saying it's secure. We go through a lot of compliance and certification to validate all the work and practices that we've put in place. Those things include regular audits, penetration testing on a regular basis, working with a bug bounty program for white hat hackers to try and find the holes if there are holes. And of course, GDPR, in terms of privacy and security, the compliances that we have are SOC 2, SOC 3, HIPAA compliance, CCPA for California, GDPR because we have foreign service members who work overseas, and we need to comply with European laws. There's a lot of detail here, and HIPAA compliance, if I didn't mention that one. So trustworthy.com/security. If you have questions, we go into quite a lot of detail there about as much as we can share about our practices and compliances. What other questions do we have, Ellen?
I'm having trouble getting into the queue.
Oh, okay. Let me see if I can get in there. Yes, there was. This whole session, Julie asked if there were handouts. Yes, there's handouts that Judith has provided, actually, some really great materials as part of the system that she's created. And those will be available when we make the on-demand video available on the sort of after event page. Let's see. Yvonne had a question about the secure sharing feature, Alan. Maybe you can bring that up again. Yeah, Yvonne, this feature was really created to help families advance the way that they share information in a more secure way. So the secure sharing feature lets you share a particular document, could be a driver's license or a car registration, anything, or in a more controlled way using a secure link where you create that link, send it out, and you can limit how long. I'm not seeing your screen now. Oh, here we go. You can limit how long that link is active for. You can turn it off at any time and make it unavailable. You can make it available for an hour or a day or a week. Here's that feature. So from any document, you're able to create that secure link and then share the link. And then on the other side, the people just go to a web page, they see the document, they can verify the information that they need to, and then the link will expire automatically after that period if you don't do anything.
And the beauty of that too is you'll know if they access it. So here in your account, you'll see when they access this information as well. So you kind of get that validation. Did they do their part of the bargain? If you're waiting on them to use this on your behalf, take in mind, some what there's a lawyer, a realtor, a car dealership, a tax, any of that.
Yep. Let's see. We have another share link question. Sent to another email, then the receiver can open it. So I need to be sure I'm sending to the correct email. Yes, I think one common way to do this is to just grab the link and then put that in your email client so you know, or you have confidence that you're sending it to the right person. I think that's the way it's commonly used in your regular email client or wherever you wanted to share it. Will we have an extension for Safari? Yes, I think we will. I'm not sure exactly when that will happen, but we plan to support all major browsers, which I think today are basically Chrome and Safari, or Chrome-based browsers at least. Bernie asks, when you share access with someone outside of your family, like a tax preparer, do they have to do any authentication once they receive the link? Alan, do you want to take that one?
Right. So when you send the invitation to their email, they're going to go through the same account creation process, two-factor authentication set up, and then you will see them arrive on the system. You'll see it in your activity feed. This person has joined. You'll get an email notification as well. And so that process is uniform, just like you would have gone through. You can also change your mind at any point. So recently my neighbor told me she fired her tax preparer because they weren't going to be done on time, was really the crux of it. You can remove that permission at any time as well.
Yeah, great. Mark asked, got a couple of pricing related questions. So what are your pricing plans? Pricing starts at free. We have a forever free plan with some limitations that you can use indefinitely. So you can start for free and see if it's a fit. Then if you want to subscribe, it's essentially $10 a month paid annually for the silver plan. If you have a business or family business or business interest that you want to keep track of, we also have a gold plan that's $240 a year. We created this in response to a lot of our members having some kind of business or business interests and wanting to keep track of all that business paperwork and the filing dates and then all the related critical things that they needed to do across the business as well. And then it's a great opportunity to talk about Judy and the Trustworthy Certified Experts. If you're, we created this program where you can get the Software Plus service. It's available in the Platinum plan today. And essentially what that is a subscription to Trustworthy plus an introductory set of hours of service. If you're a time-starved household, you want to sort of outsource getting organized and trustworthy and get everything set up. Or maybe you have a family member, an older family member who's not as familiar with technology and needs help. And you can work with someone like Judy, either online or in person. We have folks all over the country and in Canada too, to go work with either yourself or a loved one and digitize content, decide how to set up your system and how to best use it for your family's needs. And of course, if you were doing this for a loved one, you can also be a collaborator in their system. So we see this commonly with elderly folks where they have adult children who are collaborators, along with any professionals that they work with, maybe an estate planning attorney or an accountant or a wealth advisor. So that's a great program if you are looking for help. All of these folks are amazing. They all have their own businesses already. They all came from highly reputable organizations that we recruited them from, like the National Association of Senior Move Managers, the American Association of Daily Money Managers, Professionals of Afterlife Service, National Association of Professional Organizers, on and on. There's a bunch of really great organizations that we work with that they came from. Those organizations already had great professional ethics and standards. And then we do a background check. We run them through our certified expert program so we know they understand the platform and we feel comfortable pairing them with members who are looking for help or their family members. Hildy says, I'm coming to the end of the 30-day trial. I want to jump on a subscription. Where can I find guidance? Probably the pricing page is the best place. If you have questions, I would say just get started with the silver plan. And if you find that your needs are expanding, you can certainly upgrade after if you want to. Okay, Don asks, you can drag and drop from the inbox into the passport section. At this time, it seems there's no way to drag and drop from this location elsewhere. Oh, meaning you can't drag and drop from, say, the passport section to somewhere else today. Ellen, I think that's correct. Check me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure if that feature got, I know this is a feature that's under review. I don't know if it got released or if it's going to be released soon.
The question is, can I take this driver's license and put it somewhere else?
Put it somewhere, yeah.
So in March, we're doing a big new release, which you're going to hear a lot about, and we're going to have a lot of videos, and I'm actually going to do some workshopping. But basically, we're going to let you connect anything with anything, is which our head of product likes to say. What that means in reality. Let's say that I have already a property, my house here in Austin, for example, real estate. I can add the PIN to the garage door onto the real estate. I can add in the insurance plan. I can say anything I want. I can connect anywhere I want. So you will have a lot more flexibility. And I think that this reflects our very complex realities and the desire to have a full picture in one place, right? So in the future, that means that, yes, that driver's license, it will still live there in your family IDs, but you can also attach it anywhere else in the system that you want to.
Yeah, we have some, great. We have some, so that, just to clarify, that feature of moving files once you've placed them is coming very soon. And more than just beyond sort of image files or files themselves. There'll be way more flexibility to move them around once you place them. Questions about browser support. We do plan to support major browsers. The distinction here is you can absolutely use any browser today to log into Trustworthy. We also have mobile apps for both iOS and Android clients, so you can download those as well. We also have a mobile web client, meaning you can log in on your device to a browser and access Trustworthy that way. And it's optimized for mobile, even though it's in a browser. So there's a variety of things. In terms of the extension, yes, today the Trustworthy extension only works on Chrome. We're looking at which browser to support next. Bernie's asking, are images tokenized? Obviously, if you had a social security card image, is that tokenized? Yeah, the answer is yes. For secure information like social security, like passport, like driver's licenses, all those images and the related metadata that's extracted from those secure bits of information are tokenized. Not everything is tokenized and Trustworthy, but I think it's approaching 60% of information now is tokenized, and we're constantly reviewing, okay, does this constitute secure information, or is this something that maybe doesn't need to be tokenized?
And now, if I might expand on that, one of the areas where we've been able to move forward and advancements in tech being what they are, we can now extract a lot more information. We can understand you're an organ donor from your driver's license. You are a veteran and you have that on your driver's license. So that kind of information is not only tokenized, but we're expanding with technology what we're able to retrieve and link into your account.
Yep. Yvonne's asking again, why is our data not subject to being hacked? Well, I think Yvonne, the right question is, well, that's a great question. If you want more detail on our security and privacy practices, go to trustworthy.com/security. But predominantly, we make you create a robust password. We have to have two-factor authentication before you put information into Trustworthy. Those things alone are good protections. Beyond for you, and for most families, actually raise the security posture. Most of the families that we talk to are not using robust security practices already. So adopting Trustworthy for most, I'd say 80 to 90% of families, maybe more, is actually a step up in security in terms of how they protect their information. But those things protect you from being hacked, or I would say socially engineered. If you were to, pick up the phone and someone's that you think you trust, and you give them your second factor authentication, whatever that is, then you're able to be hacked that way. In terms of our sort of what we call the back end and the way that we protect information, there is a robust set of controls and practices and compliances that we go through consistently to prevent exactly that. And I think this is always top of mind, folks, because we're always hearing about another breach, right? And I think a lot of those companies, I think the most recent one I was subject to was Drizzly, right? If you were to order alcohol online and have it delivered, then they had a big breach, and information was made available. So, and we hear about these all the time. The difference between those companies and ours is our purpose is keeping your information private and protected. So that's really the most fundamental part of everything that we do. Those companies have other businesses. They tend not to focus or invest as much in information security as we do. So there's a huge difference in sort of our approach and all the things that we do and all the steps we take to keep your information private and protected.
And Judith, I think that was for you when we first met. One of the points you brought up was your own review of what was available digitally and wanting that security.
Right. I met with a lot of people and asked all of those questions and showed them what you have. And, honestly, it is the most secure thing that I've found. And that's why I'm using it. That's why I'm recommending it. And, when people ask about security and I see them with Word docs or Google Docs or spreadsheets that aren't even password protected on their machines and think, well, you're so far ahead of the game if you log in and have an account in Trustworthy, because your machine, how protected is that? You want to make sure that you've got adequate protection at all those levels. And like Nat said, you don't need to put every single piece of information, but what you want to do, and the reason that I meet with people, is to help them gather all the right information so that when someone needs it, someone needs to be your power of attorney, someone needs to be your healthcare proxy, someone needs to do the executing of your estate, that they have a roadmap where to find it. If you choose not to put it into Trustworthy, maybe just a reference to it is in my emergency grab and go file, then they know. Because the worst thing for someone under times of stress and loss is to have to go through every box, every bag, every bin, the closets, under the dining room table, the basement, the attic, the car, the trunk. There are myriad places where information resides. And the idea here is to create a single source of truth, of reference for where you find what you need when you need it. And even in terms of the contractors that you use, who did work on your house? When did they do it? What did they do? How can you prove it? Maybe you're having a capital gains thing that you want to report. Do you have that information? You can put it into Trustworthy. But it's as secure as what you do with it. If you create all of the things that Nat said, you are as secure as I think that you can make yourself at this point. And like I said, if you're not doing it in a secure way, or you've got Post-it notes all over your computer, well, someone comes into your house and they sit at your computer. Well, you just told them your bank password and your utility password, and so much information that you want to protect. So how are you going to protect it? I guess that's the alternatives. If you don't use Trustworthy, where are you going to get that kind of security?
Yeah. I'm going to move on to the next question from Stacy and Ron. They're asking, my legacy access person might not need access for 10 years or more. I hope it's way longer, Stacy. The question is, is Trustworthy going to be around? Look, no company can promise it will exist forever. Anyone who says other isn't being straight with you. What we can promise is Trustworthy is designed for decade-long timelines. Our economics reward longevity, not customer churn. The product is really built so your family is protected even as time and technology and companies change. Of course, you always have the option that your information is portable. You can always download it. Thanks for bringing this up, Ellen. And it's available, to all of the folks that you want to collaborate with between now and then. A big part of the promise of Trustworthy is, look, you don't know exactly what's going to happen in the next 10 years. How do you get organized and prepared for today, for next week, for next month, to be ready for what happens when life happens? If you're planning legacy access 10 years out, you're using Trustworthy exactly the way it was meant to be used.
I think I would like to jump into something that was said earlier, the divide and conquer that goes in our lives. It might be you and a partner, a spouse, an adult child, a neighbor, whatever that mix is. A couple of years ago, I was kind of out of commission for a bit. I went through cancer. And all of a sudden I realized how many things my husband was like relying on me for, right? And I had to backfill all that information. And that was actually part of what I wasn't yet at Trustworthy, but it made me a trustworthy customer because I needed to make my life more sane, right? And I think a lot of us have these bad habits and of like, I'll get to it as a big project, but as Judith pointed out, one piece of information at a time. And literally that's how we recommend it as well, right? I walk in from the mailbox, I get the new policy insurance card. It's the start of the year. I got the new insurance card. I snapped it on our mobile app for Trustworthy. It went right into my account. I'm good to go, right? So like it is kind of this one beat at a time, and you're going to see the rewards of it because we're not just sticking it in a folder. We're interconnecting all that information so you have a full picture of your life and a shareable picture and one that's accessible. I don't think we all only get sick or injured when we're at our house where our documents are. So we really do need them wherever we are. And that's what we're trying to help, is make us all more resilient and prepared.
Yep. Okay, great questions here. Michelle asks, does the Chrome browser extension you demonstrated working with other than Gmail? The Chrome extension and the functionality you saw today only works with Gmail, but you can forward any email from any email client to your Trustworthy email address. You can see here Alan is going to the settings section of your Trustworthy account, where you can generate any number of email or personal emails for your Trustworthy account. You can copy that. And then, yeah, you're going to do it here, maybe forward. So I think Alan's created a contact.
I did.
Created a contact for her to forward to this account. So any email with an attachment can be forwarded to Trustworthy using this email address. It'll land in the inbox and get processed by our autopilot feature.
Yeah, the key there. Sorry. That's a great workaround, but it's also just something that everyone should add their email to inbox to their contacts right away, and also use it with any professionals you're working with. If you're going to have house work done, you're selling the house, you're opening an account, you're refinancing your mortgage, you want to make sure that they are CCing your Trustworthy inbox. So those documents are going into your Trustworthy inbox and they're not getting piled up inside of your email where only you can access them and not whomever else in your household might need them. So I forwarded it here and it's going to pop in and I will be able to instantly organize. And you can see, I can also see the analysis of it that Autopilot did on the policy if I want to as well. So that email to your Trustworthy inbox is super powerful for you, but also anyone else that you want to put documents here into Trustworthy where you can decide what to do with them.
Yep. I think there's some confusion between secure links and collaboration. Pat asks, do members have to create sign-in credentials when you're sharing a secure link? The answer is no. So for secure link, you're really just sharing a file in a more secure way via the link. People can use that link. They don't need to create credentials to see the file, verifying the information that they're verifying, and then the link will expire. For collaborators, which could be a loved one, it could be an advisor that you work with, They will create credentials to get access to the system because you're giving them permissions, a category or a particular page in your system and collaborate and contribute. So my accountant, for example, is all year long, I keep track of all the files I need to send to my accountant. At tax time, he can download those files, file my tax returns, the completed tax returns. He can upload, but he just has access to the taxes category. That's all he needs access to, and that's how that relationship works. So secure links are more temporary, sharing a particular file. Collaboration is a loved one, professional, someone that is in your ecosystem that you want to have some access to the system. Okay, I think hopefully we've covered secure links and collaboration. Anne asks, are human beings doing this work or is it all being done by AI? Great question. That's the first time I've imagined a room full of human beings mechanical turking your files. That is not the case. We do use AI to extract, as you saw, when it lands in the inbox, it's being analyzed. We're extracting metadata so you don't have to type it in. We're creating a summary of each document so you can quickly scan what is this document about. If it came in with a not very documents in and it has the date that it got scanned in, we look at the document and say, could this be a better title that we recommend so you can find this document again quickly. And then it's indexed so that you can search across the document. And then if there are any dates in the document, we automatically create a reminder. So you get notified 90, 60, 30 days ahead of that expiration date and can take action to renew it. And in many cases, we sort of direct you where to go to renew that document. So that is the work that Autopilot, our AI feature set, is doing today. We find that folks who adopt it get much faster and trustworthy when they've adopted the Autopilot feature because it's doing a lot of the heavy lifting for them. Yes, we only have annual subscription, and a fair number of our families have opted into multi-year and multi-household subscriptions because we offer discounts for those, because the economics make sense. Like, I want to get a 3 or 5 year subscription that is available if you contact support. Otherwise, it's an annual subscription, and we like to keep it straightforward that way. The cost of the Forever Free plan is free, free forever, $0 per year. There are some limitations, of course, but it's free. Don't forget to highlight the VIT for, yeah, oh, great, Chris. I know Chris has been a longtime user. Thank you for the reminder, Chris. We have a great discount for veterans, for military, for our community heroes, which are teachers, first responders, pretty much every flavor you can imagine, doctors, nurses, I'm gonna forget some, but if you're in that profession, we'd love to support you. We give you a 50% discount across all the subscription plans. Is there a user guide? We have a great knowledge base that's available to everyone, all for users, and a great support team. So support@trustworthy.com if you don't find what you need in a knowledge base. Quite often you can find the thing you're looking for in the knowledge base pretty quickly using the chat-based support, but if not, we have a great support team that's super responsive. Do we offer phone support? Quite often what we'll find in some of our email support interactions is that members do need more support. And for those folks, we tend to just schedule a session like this as a Google Meet session or a Zoom session to get to the bottom of their problem, or get feedback. We're always looking for helpful feedback to know how to make the platform better. So usually the email-based support or chat-based support will escalate to an online session if that's needed. If you want to remove all information, is it possible and how's it done? Yeah, there's a couple of different ways. If you find that there's no longer use for the account, quite often families will, a couple of different use cases here. But the sort of last use case is, oh, someone has passed away. We need a place to collect all the information, either for probate, to involve the probate lawyers or attorneys, and other family members. And quite often, or increasingly, Trustworthy is used in those cases after the fact, after someone's passed away. But if you get to the end of that need, then you can either download the information and take it with you, or just delete the account and we'll delete the data and wipe it from memory. So that's another way, cancel the subscription. If there was a subscription, if it's a free account, just ask support to delete the data and they'll go through a process to confirm that it's the right people are asking for that.
I can jump in on the next one.
Yeah,
Kristen was asking us if we attach a driver's license. You saw me drop a driver's license in, and I said you can refer to it on other pages and locations. If I change the license, will it change in other locations? The answer is yes. It will cross-reference and auto-update across the system. We are looking at, in our product roadmap, an option that's a little bit different, where you might want to have an archive of all past versions of something, and that's something that we're considering in the future. But yes, it is reference based, so it's all current.
Passkey supported? Yes, they are supported. If you haven't set up a passkey yet and you want to, the best way to do that today is sort of to change your second factor authentication. It's just contact support and they'll help you sort of reset that and set up the new one. So support@trustworthy.com is the best way to go about that today. Can you add different kinds of documents? Word, Excel, yes, you can add all kinds of sort of productivity documents, text-based documents, and all the ones
in the chat. Types of files we support. I went to the help base because we just said that was very helpful, and I'm adding a link for you into the chat so you can see.
Great. Susan asks, I'm a collaborator on a Trustworthy account. Do I automatically have a Trustworthy email address? I don't think so. I think you need to create your own account to do that. You can log in and be a collaborator on someone's account, but you don't have access to all the functionality that they have. You need to go and create your own household, essentially. Sort of household is the nuclear element that we think of. A household could have any number of people. We don't limit the number of people you can have in a household, but it's sort of a logical grouping of documents that, so I might have a household, my mother has a household, my in-laws have a household. I might have access to some of that information or all of it even, but there's different accounts there that got set up. And some people will merge those. It sort of depends on your family dynamic. I know when my father was sick and then eventually passed away, a lot of his information was just easy to put in my account for referential purposes, but he could have had his own account to manage his own household, and that's the norm. There's a question here about secure links. The people, you can't download the document, but you could essentially screenshot it today. There's very little we can do. We're all looking at some technologies to prevent that in the browser, but the desktop is harder. The essence here is that you're sharing for a period of time that you have more control over. The next increment on secure links will have passwords, but again, it's very difficult to prevent someone from taking a screenshot somehow, or even just basically putting their phone up to the screen and taking a picture of it. So while it's more secure, it's not absolutely secure. If you were worried about that happening with the person you're sharing with, don't share it, as you can avoid it. Does Judith have more to share regarding estate planning, organizing, or we just be talking about Trustworthy? Sorry, we have been talking about Trustworthy. Judith, do you have more you'd like to share about estate planning, or talk more about your background and experience and the books that you've written?
Well, like I said, I've been doing this for 25 years, and what started out as a residential organizing business found all of those documents, and in strange places, in books, on bookshelves, in grocery bags under the desk, in closets. People had a family dinner and they swooshed everything into a shopping bag and put it in the front hall closet, and it was lost for years. And so that's when the emergency file came into play. all of those essential documents that you need to keep. They're grouped together by what they are. Insurances are with insurances, and licenses with licenses, and automobiles together, homes together. All of those items are already listed for you. All you need to do is take the file and put the documents in that file. As far as your estate plan, what I do with people is help them find all of the bits of information. When you go to meet with an estate planner, they're going to ask for a lot of information before you meet with them, because they need to know what's encompassed in your estate. So if you have it all already categorized and you already have it saved, paper-based or digitally, then they can use that information. You can bring it to your appointment. You can say, here's what's in this account. Here's what's that account. Here, this is what you're helping me to protect. So same thing with medical information. If you have a list of all your results, if you have a list of all your medications, if you have a list of all of the different clinics that you visit and the actual physical address, or even your bank. I had someone who was asked what branch they opened their bank account in as a security question. What branch did you open it at? They had 15 different branches. You might want to note that down. So that's where I come in, is to help people figure out what it is that they're going to be looking for. A lot of times, if you're meeting with an estate planner, they're going to give you a list of all the things that you need. Well, if you already have that all gathered and ready to go and saved, that's a lot quicker process. It's going to save you time, probably money meeting with the planner, because you've already taken that step. You've already guarded that information, brought it all together.
Yeah, a great opportunity to talk about some of the offers that we have for attendees today. Judy, what's the best way for them to get your book and to learn more about how they could work with you?
So the book is available on Amazon. The code right there will take you to Amazon, to the link for the book. There is an ebook as well that will give you the information. I have a couple of courses on my website, beyondtheestateplan.com, where you can find step-by-step. People tell me all the time, I read the book, but I need a Judy. That's what brought this book to bear, is that I had a book before this, the complete guide, 26 different forms, every kind of information that you could keep. And I think it was too overwhelming. There were people who did it and people who worked their way through it. What I tried to do with this book is to give you the starting point. Once you've completed this, you can move on to other areas, but starting here gives you those lists, gives you the list of files that you have on paper, talks about ways to get contacts, creating lists from Google Contacts, from Outlook Contacts, from Apple Contacts, where you can import the whole list into Trustworthy. So all of those different kinds of steps are available in this book. And like I said, visit the website, join my list. We're happy to, for my members, I have meetings every week where you can ask your questions. So I hope to see you there.
Thank you. And then if you are interested in learning more about a Trustworthy subscription, we have a discount code for folks today where you can get 20% off gold or silver plan. And you can just use this discount code TWWEB, Trustworthy Web, to get that, or scan the QR code there to get straight to that. We have a couple more questions that I want to get to. I know we're over time, but these are great questions. Darren asks, do you have plans to add a medical section? Great question. Yes, this is a good opportunity to talk about the next version that's coming in a few weeks. So there's a big, what we call V2 release coming that will have some really great new features to Trustworthy. One of them is sort of a more flexible system of organization that will not only automatically organize everything for you, but add a medical category and give you more flexibility in how those categories are named, and even add new categories if you want to. So that's all coming very soon. Medical, I think, is top 1 or top 3 requests that we have for folks for obvious reasons. And there are lots of workarounds you can use today to put medical information. There's no constraints, obviously, putting information into Trustworthy. We just haven't had a specific category for it. And so that's coming very soon. John, I think John mentions he's been a Trustworthy user for a few years now. He loves it. It's given his family peace of mind to know where everything is located. It just went through the passing of 2 parents, and it took us several painful months to locate all the information needed to settle their estates. So that's a view into what happens if you aren't as organized as you'd like to be. We've heard all kinds of stories. I think the average is 18 months, something like 18 months to pass through and to work your way through an estate and figure out passwords and open mail and create a spreadsheet of all the things that you need to either shut down or resolve. So Trustworthy aims to really ease a lot of that in that particular use case. I'm glad to hear John is set up and ready for his family. Randy C., I don't have a particular answer about your VPN question. I want to take that to the tech team and get you an answer. We'll follow up on that. But great question. Yes, Missy, Judy, is your website .net? I think Ellen.
I popped it into chat. Yes, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's into chat.
Yeah. Okay, great. Oh, you already have a purchase on Amazon, Judy. Great job. Thanks, Pat. Thanks everyone for joining. I think we're going to wrap up here. Great questions today. If we didn't get to your question, I apologize. There's a couple I want to follow up with specifically, but if you have more questions, please email support@trustworthy.com. We're happy to answer those. We're happy to get online with you and work through any questions that you have. Thanks, Judy, for being here. We appreciate your expertise and support and look forward to working with you even more closely in the months and years to come.
Thanks
everyone.
so much. Thank
Have a
you.
great
Thank
rest
you,
of the day.
everyone.